welcome Amanda McKinney. Thank you so much for being here today with us. We're delighted to have you. Really looking forward to learning a lot from what you are going to share today. And thank you for spending the time with us. Just really, really appreciate it. So I'll stop my screen share and I'll pass it over to you at this point.
Perfect. Well, I am super excited to be here today. So excited. I'm seeing new names that I don't know. So it's so nice to connect with new people. And Alex and everyone over at Offering Tree, thank you so much for having me. I sing Offering Tree's praises all the time. Those of you who know that my podcast, or you follow me on Instagram or Facebook, you know I talk about them because I think Offering Tree is amazing. So shout out to you all for having a wonderful, wonderful platform that I recommend to a lot of yoga teachers. So on that note, I am a marketing coach for yoga teachers. So I'm talking to you today about your wellness business, and we'll talk about niching down. And so my niche is that I work with yoga teachers, but of course I've worked with many other businesses before I niche down to focus just on yoga teachers. So marketing is something that you can take across industries. It's just my examples will be yoga teachers. But I see some yoga teachers here, so I think all is going to be good. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and get started, and I want this to be super, super interactive. So get inside the chat. I don't know if we have a question button, so I'm not seeing it right now. Since there's not a question button, if you have questions, put it in the chat. I'll do my best to catch them. Okay, so if I miss them, forgive me, keep asking, I'll answer them. It's not that I'm not trying to answer you, I promise. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Give me just a second to click around here. And let's see. Okay, can you all see my screen? I'm going to open up the chat if I can, so you can tell me. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I want one person, at least one person, to tell me, can you see my screen? Is it good? And then I'm going to close the chat and I'll just check it. Okay, so you can see it. Perfect. I'm going to close the chat. So I'm not actually looking at it, but I'll check it periodically. Sometimes my eyes will just wander and I'll just keep talking about the chat of whatever's going on. So I'll check in with it in a minute. But we're talking today about the 5 secrets to grow your wellness business. And they're not so secret, but they're fun to call secrets, right? You've probably heard all of this before. So let's dive right in here. And the possible reasons you're here today. I would love to know in the chat as we go through which number you are. So I'm going to check this after I tell you, and you might be a combo of several of these. So number 1, you're tired of having less than filled offerings, and you know there has to be another way to grow your business. You just know that it has to be out there, but you don't know what it is. Or you've declared this year the glorious 2020 that gave us all the sidelines of all the things that we could do. You declared this year as the year that we were going to grow your business, and you're still determined to do it, even though 2020 is kind of crazy. Or you're not sure, this is the tough one, you're not sure if you and your business can actually grow. You've seen other people grow their business, but you're not quite sure if you can. So I want to know which number you are. So I want you to put that in the chat. And let me see if I can see the chat. Okay. What do we have? 1 and 2, 3, 2, 2. Lots of good stuff over here. Okay, so everyone's identifying with at least one of these, if not more. And the reason that I know this is because I work with yoga teachers and wellness professionals every day, and this is very typical. You're not alone in this. These struggles are something that come up all the time, so you're definitely not alone. But no matter which number that you fall into, even if it's several, I'm glad you're here, so glad you're here, and I'm going to talk about all of them. We're going to address all of those in this training. So my promise to you, I always like to start trainings like this. Like, I'm going to promise you something and ask for something in return, because I think expectations are better when you set them up, right? When you tell everyone, this is what's coming, and they tell you what they want to. So you're going to have a better understanding of marketing and actionable steps. Okay, this is the critical piece, the actionable steps. If you know me in my podcast, I tell you what steps to take to actually grow your business. So I promise you, I'll give you that today. But the promise I need you to make is, of course, that you're going to be present and you're going to take away all the distractions and turn off email and all of that. Everyone always says that. And I do want you to do that. But even more, I want you to show up with a willingness to learn. And maybe you're going to hear me say something that you've heard before. What I want you to think is, how can this help me today? How can I hear it in a different way to actually help me grow my business? Because that's what you're here for. So, do we have a deal? Put it in the chat. I'm going to keep asking. So good. I want you to tell me if we have a deal, because I'm going to show up for you and I want you to show up for me. Okay, I'm seeing some yeses. I'm here for it. Okay. So why me? If you don't know who I am, like I said, I'm a marketing coach for yoga teachers, and I have seen success in my business and I've helped others see success in theirs. So I'm going to share lots of examples. And again, I'm going to give examples of yoga teachers because that's what I work with predominantly. But even before I niche down to yoga teachers, I've worked with spas, dental offices. I'm trying to think of all the different little tiny things, like nutrition companies, because I did work with wellness businesses before I niched down to yoga teachers. And when I first started, I was working with really big corporations because that's where I was in my previous world of work. Is I was in the corporate world. So I've worked with a lot of different industries, and these concepts that I'm going to share really stretch across all these different industries. But today, and how I work is I work with yoga teachers, which is a lot of fun. So what I do is I like to take these business lessons that you can listen to podcasts and read books, and I take them down into how you can translate it for your wellness business, because sometimes it's hard to do that. So hopefully I help you with that today. Two things that I want you to keep in mind: commitment and consistency. You're going to hear me say this several times, that I don't promise a get rich quick situation, because it doesn't work that way. Some people might have a stroke of luck every now and then, but what I can promise you is that if you're committed and you're consistent, you will see progress. I can promise that every time, but you have to do these two things. You have to be committed and you have to be consistent. So that goes across all of this as I'm sharing the 5 secrets. And this is evidence that it works. So in my business, in just the last year, I want you to know that I sat down with myself and thought, okay, what do I want to really commit to growing? And I said, I want to grow my email list, because I know as a marketer that email is a direct correlation to revenue. And I've heard this time and time again. So I sat down and I said, okay, I'm going to consistently and in a committed way make sure I'm growing my email list. So in the last year, in the past year, I've grown my email list by 301%, because I was committed and consistent on how to welcome people onto my email list. Like doing things like this, trainings like this allow me to grow my email list. So what I want you to see here is the actual graph. Like, you got it in your mind, right? You're looking at it. Okay. I want you to see how it translates to the next one. It grew my revenue. Okay. It grew my revenue too. It grew my revenue by 159%. And this is what I want you to see, that it's possible in your business too. But I really wanted to showcase this because when people think of marketing, they often think of social media. And I want you to remember, it's not just social media. It definitely helps, but it's not just social media. It's also email too. So I don't want you to forget that. And I want you to also remember that Offering Tree has an amazing email service built in to their actual service. So it's the website and the email that goes together. And this is why I really recommend Offering Tree to so many people, because it lets you do this in a very simple way. So it's not so tech heavy. So when I talked about email, I know that can be really stressful. So I've got templates. Hang with me till the end. There's going to be a discussion of templates, okay? Because as soon as I start talking about email, I get lots of questions about, I don't know what to write and all these things. I got you covered. So how I grew so quickly is that I fully stepped into my niche. So whatever yours is in your wellness business, I want you to really start thinking about how you can step into that niche and really understand what your goals are. And as you do that, you might have to make some guesses. So like with me and my yoga, like working with yoga teachers, I didn't know everything about yoga teachers. I still don't. If I ever say I do, call me out, because that's not true. I can never know enough. But I had to make guesses and experiment along the way. But then I was able to listen and learn and then make educated guesses. And now I don't really have to make guesses anymore. I now have requests for things. So people, Christine saying, I love your podcast, right? My podcast is driven every single episode by questions from you all, right? This is how it works. It's wonderful. You have to get there, but it's awesome. So what I want you to tell me in the chat is, what is just one offering, not your whole business, right? What is just one thing that you want to grow in the next few months? By the end of 2020, what do you want to grow in the next 3 months? You want to grow a specific class of yours. You want to launch a new product. You want to grow your email list. Like, what is the thing you want to do? I want you to put it in the chat. Private sessions, Zoom classes, pelvic floor classes. Yes, yes, yes. You're getting specific. I love it. Start, grow your email list. Loving it. You just saw that that's really important. So for everyone here, I want you to just remember that one offering. As we go through these 5 steps, remember that one offering, okay? Virtual meditation classes. Yes, I love meditation. Okay, so what would it feel like if you had over 100% growth in your revenue by this time next year? Or what about growing your list, your email list, with engaged students, and you could over double it? How would that feel to you? Because I can tell you what it felt like for me. Fan-freaking-tastic. Yes, I love to make up words. This is really me showing up for you, because it did feel good. It wasn't like, oh, it was cool. It was like, yes, I did that. Oh my gosh, I did that. That is so cool. And that's what I want for you. I want you to be dancing around. I want you to be thinking about how far you've come in 3 months or a year. So secret number 1 is we have to be in the right mindset. Right? You just have to be in the right mindset. You are wellness professionals, you're yoga teachers, meditation, nutrition, all of this. You know that mindset is so important. I don't have to teach you this, but we have to remember it. So when we're thinking about mindset, I want you to remember that marketing isn't bad. Marketing is not bad. It is neutral. It is what you do with the words, with the marketing, that can make it have energy one way or the other. Right? So if you've had a bad experience with someone feeling like you feel icky from someone else's marketing, that's a situation. That is one example. You don't have to do that. You get to market in the way that feels right to you. So we have to have our mindset right about what marketing is. And what I like to say is that it's inviting people to the party, right? This is a really cool party that we're having right now, and we invited you. If we didn't invite you, you wouldn't be here. And we wouldn't have connections, and what a bummer that would be, right? Because we wouldn't be together spending this time learning about one another. So I want you to think about what perspective you have, not just about marketing, but even about your business. So like if you're seeing people say, oh, times are so tough and no one can make money in 2020, right? I'm going to show you examples of people who have done this. So I want you to keep them in mind as you're thinking about this, because perspective is so key for this. You can grow your business. So my student, Julia, she did an amazing job with really targeting in and knowing her niche. She's a yoga teacher that focuses on feminine yoga, but even more, she speaks German when she teaches. I was able to be her coach because she also speaks English. She's on my podcast. You can check out her episode there. But she did amazing. You can see what we worked through. And she went from having 30 signups on a free training and no one showing up to 450 signups, and eventually now has a membership of over 100 students. So she did this. I want you to see that this is possible. And she has really tremendously grown her business during COVID as well. So I just want you to see that this is absolutely possible. So what's your perspective? This is what I want you to take away from this section. Your action step is to review your perspective. Do you have negative thoughts about marketing, or are you getting negative feedback in terms of things that are coming in, the input that's coming in? If it is telling you that your business is limited, you have to check that perspective. You have to feel like, okay, that's just not what I need right now. You can pause people on social media. You can unsubscribe from email list. You can do whatever you need to make sure that you're getting a positive input in terms of growing your business. So secret number 2 is that you have to set goals and a schedule. So if you just rolled your eyes, I saw you. Not really, not really. I can't see you, but I know you are probably doing that because so many students of mine roll their eyes when I say you have to set a schedule, because I hear this all the time. Amanda, I'm allergic to a schedule. The amount of times I've heard that is pretty phenomenal. And I say this because when you hear me talk about it, you're going to hear me say, I love having a schedule. But what I want you to remember is that you don't have to love it, but you do need to take steps in order to grow your business. And having a schedule is one of those steps that really helps you in the long run, I promise. So setting a weekly schedule to work on your business and not just in it. This is super important, and it can start with 1 hour a week. You can be really, really targeted with what you're doing in terms of the marketing side and really trying to grow your business and doing things like growing your email list and filling that Zoom class and filling private sessions. Like, these are things, if you want to grow those things, you have to put time and energy into marketing those things, right? We have to do that. So I want you to set some goals. And you can hear this on my podcast. I talk about them all the time, about setting good, better, and best goals. I won't go into the whole process today, but it's basically knowing what enough is. So when you say private sessions, I think that was Amy who said that, right? Amy said private sessions. Okay, private sessions are a great example because a lot of yoga teachers want to do that. But when we sit down and we think about, okay, how many can you actually take on? How many private sessions in a week can you actually have? Because your time is so limited. You have to know what enough is. You have to know what is physically capable on your schedule, right? Those Zoom classes, yeah, you can technically have thousands, but are you comfortable doing that? Do you just want to have 10 people in a class or 6 people in a class? Or if you want to grow your email list, what do you want to do? You want to get your first 100 subscribers, or do you want to double your list, whatever the number is, right? You need to know what these are. Good is what is like the minimum, right? The minimum, what is enough? You want to set another one that's better and best so that you can celebrate along the way. Those are really fun. I use a Post-it system. Again, listen to the podcast episodes on these. I talk about it in way more greater detail. So today, I want you to do this right now. You have that one offering that you're thinking about. So I want you to set a goal. What do you want to do in the next 30 days? This is not 3 months down the road. This is the next 30 days. I want you to say, what can I do realistically in the next 30 days to grow my email list, to fill those Zoom classes, to sell a certain product? What is it? What is it that you want to do to make that happen? Secret number 3, definitely not a secret if you've heard me in any length of time, which is like the 20 minutes we've been talking, is niching down, right? We have to niche down and get specific. Now, some people will argue this until they're blue in the face and say they don't want to do it, or it's better to not be niche down. But in all of my experience with corporate world, working with clients, now working with yoga teachers, every single time someone has niched down and gotten really specific with something, it has grown their business. So I want you to remember that a niche doesn't have to be forever. And I'm even saying today, it doesn't even have to be your whole business. Remember how you picked that one offering, that one thing that you wanted to do, private sessions or Zoom classes or whatever? That one offering, you can have a niche just for that one thing. Just for that one thing, I want you to think about who is the perfect person to buy that. When you do this, that's when you can see, I can be really clear with my messaging once I know that it's the perfect person to welcome into that space, right? So when you're trying to think of, okay, I want to grow my Tuesday at 2 Zoom class, right? Or whatever it is, I want you to think about who's perfect for that. Who's perfect for that class? What are you teaching? And yes, I know that your offering, no matter what it is, can serve a lot of people. As a wellness professional, you're excited to serve so many people. And I don't want to take that away. But what I want you to do is notice that the more clear you can be with a message, you'll actually reach more people in a more effective way. Because when you're trying to speak to everyone, you actually speak to no one. You'll hear that time and time again, and it's because it's really true. If you say something is like, everyone is invited, right? It doesn't sound as good. It doesn't sound as inviting as when someone says, you're invited to, if someone is, I'm trying to think of like a specific example of non-yoga. I speak in yoga examples all day long, so it's really hard. But I think about, if I was working with a spa and they said, okay, we can have massages for anyone, right? And I would say, okay, well, what about this one, like you're trying to fill a spot that's at 2 p.m., right? I'm just picking on 2 p.m. for some reason today. If you're picking on, like you're saying, okay, well, there's a 2 p.m. slot that is typically not filled, then I would say, okay, well, the perfect person for that time slot isn't going to be a mom that has kids, right? Like, obviously, a mom has kids, but a mom that has kids maybe in school, like not an adult kids, because that's school time. That's pickup time, or that's right before pickup time, like 2 p.m. You're not going to get a mom in there to get a massage. She might want it at 2 p.m., but she can't have it at 2 p.m., right? So, who is the perfect person? Me, entrepreneur, right? Like I can take a break at 2 p.m. and go get a massage. Like, come after me, send me an email telling me that I work so hard all day that I deserve a break at 2 p.m., right? Oh, yes. Then I'm going to open that email, right? You want to think about how it can be really clear to a specific person. So remember, you don't have to say this forever, but a niche will get smaller and smaller. Just like I said, I worked with big corporations. Then I worked with wellness professionals, and then I worked with yoga teachers, right? You get more and more specific as you go and as you feel more comfortable. So you don't have to do this forever. It evolves over time. So meet Dominique. Dominique, there's someone here who has pelvic floor, Angela, pelvic floor. So Dominique works with pelvic health as well. And she has done an amazing job by growing her studio. And she says all the time, it is because of niching down. And she did some pretty cool things with her marketing. And she has taken my course and she's in my membership. And that's what she mentions here. But what she did is she even like niched down her words to who she wanted to work with that have pelvic health issues, or whatever word she wants to use. I can't remember. Because for a while she was talking about incontinence, and she was talking about how that was the word she was using, and that's it's a more of a medical term, right? Some people know what it means, some people don't. And so then she shifted and said, are you tired of peeing your pants? And she started really grasping at the people, like really getting attention from the people who she works best with. She works best with females who like the funny stuff because she's hilarious. If you follow her on Instagram, she has great Instagram reels because she's funny and she's engaging. Not everyone is going to love that, but that's who she wants to work with. So she started shifting her words, and it was really great. So she's a great example of niching down and stepping into who you really want to work with and getting comfortable with that and even saying it in your words. And Megan, this is me and Megan because we actually do live in the same city, and she's a yoga teacher, a student of mine. She's my friend, and she's also my private yoga teacher. So this was us after one day, and yes, we're in robes because it was a cold day and we enjoy wearing robes because it was fun. So Megan is a private yoga teacher in the United States, and she calls herself a rebel. She's been on my podcast as well, and so is Dominique, actually. And she calls herself a rebel because she says, I don't just have one dream student. I have a few. But the thing is she made a big declaration of saying, I'm a private yoga teacher, instead of just saying yoga teacher, right? So she made that little tiny shift, the tiny little shift she was comfortable with, and she started growing her business. So I had her declare a number, and I said, what number would you think is almost out of reach for you on a monthly basis? And so she told me, and she told me later that she told me a number that was high, that she definitely thought was out of reach and that she wouldn't get it. And I'm happy to say that after about 8 months, she had transitioned most of her studio classes, and really started stepping into teaching more private clients. And so she did that. She was making her revenue number that she thought she couldn't make, and she hasn't stopped, right? Like that was over a year ago, and her business continues to grow. It's amazing. So she's a great example as well of taking just that first step, that first little step in niching down. You don't have to do it all at once. So today, for that one offering, I want you to think about, okay, I have my goal. I have my one offering and I have my goal of what I want to do. So who's the perfect person? Who can I invite to that offering that's the perfect person? And I want you to play around with this niching idea with just one offering instead of your entire business. Secret number 4, you got to have a plan. You've got to have a plan. And I know, again, that could be the thing, like, I'm not a planner. I don't like to do that. Trust me, I hear all of this all the time. But when you started your business, right, when you were learning this new trade, new service, you had to learn how to do that. You didn't just know automatically how to teach yoga or how to give a massage or how to build a recommended diet for someone. You didn't know this. You had to learn, and you probably then used a plan in order for you to work with your first few clients. And so I want you to know that you want to do that with marketing too, that you can't just wing it at first, which is probably what you're doing and not seeing progress, right? You're like, Amanda, I'm posting on Instagram all the time and I just don't know why it's not working. Well, do you actually have a strategic plan for this, or are you winging it? Would be my question. Most of the time, it's you're winging it. And that's okay, because that's why you're here today. That's why I'm here today, is to help you with that. So when you think about a marketing plan, it does not need to be complicated. It can be super, super simple. So I want you to think about it as this. What do you do each week to help market your business? Do you send emails? Do you post on Instagram? Do you post on Facebook? Do you have a Pinterest account? Like, what are you doing to invite people to buy your service or your product? That is your marketing plan. It can be that simple. Now, what you want to do is see what you're doing, and then you need to make it consistent. And you probably need to do a little bit more. Just going to say. Usually people need to do a little bit more on a consistent basis. But that's how simple a plan can be. It doesn't need to be super complicated and a crazy tool. Like, you can write this down and keep it really, really simple. So I want you to meet Anne-Laure. And she is a yoga teacher that lives in Oregon, originally from France. So traveling and moving to a new location is something I hear all the time, because people move all the time and it's difficult, right? The fortunate thing with all this moving, all the world moving online, is you can actually keep a lot of your clients, a lot of your customers, because they can move with you, because your website moves with you, right? But Anne-Laure wanted to start an online offering later. And I kept saying, why? Why later? Why not right now? And so all it took for her was for us to sit down and make a plan. So we made a plan. She had her goals, her good, better, best with 5, 6, and 7. And she launched her first online program with 6 people. And it was all because we kept it really simple and we created a plan. She created a plan with me and she followed it. Step 1, step 2, step 3, right? Like, here's what I got to do. And she filled her program. It was amazing. And I'm so proud of her. And you can do this too. And it doesn't have to be really complicated. So what I want you to think about is you've got your one offering, right? You've got your 30-day goal, and you've got your dream student that you're going to call in. I want you to map out a 30-day plan. What are you going to do for the next 30 days? What is it actually going to be that you can do? So I want you to really sit down and map that out. You probably can't do that in the next 2 minutes, right? You're going to need to do that after this training, but I really want you to map that out on a 30-day plan. What can you do each week to actually get you closer to achieving your goal? And I just want you to think about it. Don't make it complicated. Make it a super simple plan for yourself. Step number 5, secret number 5, is that you need the right messaging. This is where everyone gets tripped up, by the way, because words are hard. Words are hard. And I get it. I've got a great example that we're going to walk through in a minute, but I want you to know that the more that you can use your student or your customer's words, the better. So if you're sitting here and saying, but Amanda, I don't have them yet. I don't have customers. I don't have students. I feel for you. This is when you got to go back. Remember those early slides when I said, you got to make some guesses. Make some guesses, test things out, and try it. But once you do have students, once you do have customers, then I want you to use their words. And testimonials are great. They're awesome, and I want them on your website. I want you to use them on social media. But I also want you to think about it like this. If you ask 5 of your students or clients how they describe your product or service, and they say things, you don't have to take that exact quote and make it a testimonial. What you could do is say, okay, they all said, like everyone says about me, Amanda, you're so encouraging, right? I get this all the time. I love it. I hope I am. So what I do is to say that. I say, I'm an encouraging person. If you work with me, I'm going to encourage you all the time. So I'm using my students' words, but they're not a quote. Do you understand what I'm saying? I hope you do. We're just going to pretend I could see you and you're saying yes. So you want to use your students' words, but you also want to think about benefits over features. So often I'll see pages on websites, social media posts, it's like 2-hour restorative workshop. And I think that's great. That's a descriptive phrase, but that's not telling me what I get out of that workshop, right? That's not telling me what the benefit is, because we as human beings are very selfish. We don't like to think this, and we try really hard to combat that, which is great, but we are wired to want to know what's in it for me. What do I get out of paying for this thing? We all want that. So I want you to use that as the lens that I want you to write in, like tell them what they get. Don't make them guess, because you know your offering and your product is so good. This is why you have a passion for it. So what do they get out of it? And everyone asked me for a template or a formula. This is the closest thing I have for it. So what you want to think about is the pain point, and that's how you get the attention, right? You get attention with a pain point. You then talk about the dream. So stressed because you're always in a hurry, right? The dream is like, don't you wish you had an extra hour in the day, right? The fix, I don't know. I was just making that up. I don't have really a fix. The fix could be, maybe the fix is a way to organize your day where you actually do get an hour back in your day, right? And that could be the person's product. So maybe you have a product that allows someone to have a better plan for their day. And so that is the fix. Your offering is the fix. And then the call to action is what you ask them to do. Buy the product, register for the class, sign up for the free training, right? You want to think about the actual call to action. What are they actually going to do? And you have to ask them to do it, because people need you to ask them. So pain, dream, fix, call to action. And then I want you to just test. Don't get frustrated. Keep going, keep testing, keep trying, knowing that not everything is going to be a home run. I post things on social media all the time that are not home runs. We all do, but we have to just keep testing and trying things until we see, oh, that's the words that work. That's the words that really work with my audience. So here's an example of a headline. So which one of these is better? 2-hour restorative yoga workshop. That's why it was in my brain. Or feel rejuvenated rather than drained and inflamed? I think we know the answer, right? Like, because you're talking about that pain point and the dream, like feel rejuvenated rather than drained and inflamed. I'm showing you this because it's a real life example of my student, Elaine. She was working through her sign up page for her 2-hour restorative workshop, and I was reviewing the sales page for her. And so I'm reading through, and her words are so good on her website. She has a way with writing that's really good. It really conveys her personality. And so I was reading it, and I found this little nugget about a third, maybe like 3/4 of the way down. And it said drained, like feel rejuvenated rather than drained and inflamed. And I was like, oh, that needs to go at the top. And so it made me think, okay, this is something so important. When she was writing her sales page, it took about 3/4 of the way down for those creative juices to get flowing, and then she wrote it. So remember, you don't have to start with the headline. You don't have to start with the hook of what's going to get their attention. Why don't you just start writing and then see what jumps out? Because that's what she did. And she did fill her workshop, and she has multiple times, and she's done a great job with this. But what it took was a little bit of writing, and sometimes it just takes time to get there. So she's a yoga therapist in California and deals with chronic pain. So this was perfect. You can see the imagery that she's used. It was really a home run. So I want you to test this theory. You can test it in like talking with people. You can test it with 2 different social media messages, emails, whatever you want to do. I want you to say, like, if your version of the 2-hour workshop, like if you have a nutrition plan that you have offered, I want you to start with and say, I've got a nutrition plan that's perfect for you. Or you could say, don't you want to feel like you have more energy when you wake up, even before you have your coffee, right? Like we know food can do that. I'm not a nutritionist, so I don't know how to tell people how to do that, but I know that food can do that. So tell them that benefit, what they're going to get out of this is what you really want to lead with. So here's your 30-day plan. I promised you I'd give you a plan. You got to review your mindset, make sure your perspective is on point and positive, right? Because that can take us down super fast. Declare your goal for your next 30 days, which you did. You said, here's the offering I want to grow. Here's the thing I want to do. You want to remember your dream student, and you want to write that marketing plan. That's the piece you have to do after this training. And then you're going to test that messaging. So those are your steps for your 30-day plan. And remember those possible reasons you were here? I told you we'd revisit them. So those of you who marked number 1, that you were tired of having less than filled offerings and know that there has to be a way, I hope you know now that marketing is that way. I hope you know that you can make this simple and fun and still grow your business. So if you declared this the year, 2020, you're not going to win, right? This is the year that you're going to grow your business. There's still time. There's still time. You've got several 30-day chunks. You can do this. Like you can absolutely grow your business in the next few months. Or if you're not sure if your business can grow, I want you to really focus in. I want you to really hear me. If you're doing anything else and you are number 3, not sure about your business, I want you to take a minute and listen to me, and I want you to hear my words. You, my friend, are the special sauce. Your company is built on the passion that you have for helping others, no matter what it is. It doesn't matter if 1,000 other people are doing the exact same thing. They're not you. It's not your company. You can do this. Do I need to say it again? Because you can do this. And if you need to watch this replay 50 times to hear me say that, please do it. Because you can do this, and I know that you can. So you have 2 options for how you can move forward with your 30-day plan, right? And there's not a bad option. Option number 1 is you run with your plan. You run. You can do this. You can go and you can run all those steps that we talked about today. You can do it all on your own. I have every belief in you and confidence in you. But there is another option if you're like, I need some guidance. Okay. So this is obviously what I do every day, all day, is help people grow their business through marketing. And so you can ask me for help. Isn't that a beautiful thing? Right. And so I have two offers. If you're a yoga teacher, there's one. If you're a wellness business owner, there's another one. Of course, either one you can buy, but I want you to know I've split it up since I know there's multiple people here. And as I go through this, I want you to be putting your questions in the chat because we've got about 15 minutes left, and I would love to answer your questions. So I'll go through these kind of quickly, and we will make sure to have the links for you in the email that will come up later, okay? So the one-on-one workshop, this is for wellness businesses that are not necessarily yoga teachers. So what you get is you get some time one-on-one with me. It's me and you over Zoom, except I get to see you this time. And then we spend some time together. We create your plan. I follow up with a detailed plan of every single action you need to be taking over the next little bit. And then you get 2 weeks of Voxer support, which is a walkie-talkie app where you can continue to ask me questions for 2 weeks. I do this because if I did a 1-hour call, which is what I used to do, people always have questions, and I like to know and I like to help you take the actions and actually help you through the process, because that means you actually do it. So that's why I've built this offering. You get those 2 weeks of support and you get some one-on-one time. It's super fun. I love it. And I promise you it works because people keep booking it and telling me that it works, right? So I know this. So this offering is $550 US. I should have said that on here, but you get $100 off because you're here today and because I love Offering Tree. I just love them. So you get $100 off. I will definitely make sure that this link is in the email that you're going to get from Offering Tree. And so it will be $450, but you have to use the code Offering Tree. Deal? Good. Okay, so how to sign up. I always like to show people super simple. You're going to go to my website, which we'll give you the link to. You're going to pick your date and time, and then you're going to put in the coupon code. Okay, if you don't do the coupon code, you don't get the discount. So make sure to do that. For yoga teachers out there, I have a digital course that you can buy and get access to everything right away. So it's basically me going into detail about all of the things I covered today, but in much more detail. So video lessons, there's templates, there's homework for each lesson, and you get the invitation to my monthly membership that Dominique mentioned during one of those slides. And so you get access to the course indefinitely until I take it off the internet, right? You have access, and I consistently update everything. So there's lots of new stuff in there all the time. But again, with both of these options, it's commitment and consistency. Whoops. And so it takes time. It's not get rich quick. You have to do these steps, but they all work. So the bonuses for the course comes with a course on branding, and you get monthly calls. So it's group Q&A calls where you get to ask all your questions. And so you get access to those indefinitely as well. And you get a private community for all of the students. It's an amazing community. You'll love it. And remember those templates I was telling you about? Here it is. It's a freebie email sequence template. And if you're a wellness provider and you're like, Amanda, I want that, it's on my website. I'll make sure to link to that too. You can buy it, or I can make sure, you know what, if you're a wellness provider, I will put a code together. I'm going to write this down. Code for the templates. You can get that for free. How about that? If you book the one-on-one, you'll get that for free too. So the course is normally $697, but because I love Offering Tree, you get $300 off. $300 off. So it'd be $397. So thank you, Offering Tree. They're awesome. And so here's how you sign up for that. You go to the website that we're going to send you to. It's a 5-day deal. So you have 5 days to get the $300 off. This one is a shorter window simply because it's a digital course, so it needs to change a little bit. But what you do is you use the link, make sure you pick your payment option, and you get to run with that. But you make sure to toggle the thing from gray to pink to get the freebie. That's the deal. Okay, so I'm going to answer some questions, and I'm going to stop sharing so I can see everyone's chat. Okay. Amanda, I write a weekly blog. So this is Christine. Okay. I send it to my email list, post it on LinkedIn, since many of my students are corporate. Oh, awesome. And then reuse some content onto Instagram and Facebook. Are there other places I should distribute them? So, Christine, what I would say is to look at what is helping you. I get this question a lot. What you're trying to do is you're trying to add. You're trying to add more things, thinking that that's going to help you grow your email list or grow your business. What I would rather you do is spend more concentrated time on the places that are actually working instead of splitting your time and only doing a little bit at each of these. So I would say to dive in and say, is LinkedIn working? Should you put more effort there? Or should you put more effort? If most of your clients are corporate, I don't think, I'm making an assumption here, but I don't think Instagram is going to be your place, because while some people who are in the corporate world might be on Instagram, that's not where they're consuming information for that business. So I would bet that LinkedIn is going to be a better place for you. Medium is fantastic. So Medium is a great place. I just wouldn't add something else to your plate if you're not sure what's really working. So I want you to start tracking things. Start tracking it right now. If you haven't yet, I want you to start looking at things and seeing like, okay, what's actually working? What's bringing more people onto my email list or signing up with clients, right? Referrals and word of mouth is probably the number one place everyone is gaining customers and clients. But think about, there's a lot of steps before that. So I want you all to be thinking about personal connections and networking and all of that, but also think about, if you're going to be doing some digital marketing, I want you to spend your time where it counts instead of adding more. Hopefully that helps. Okay, good. That helps. I know it's a hard thing and it's really tempting to want to add, right? Because we think more is better, right? More, more, more. I need to do more marketing in order for it to help. I don't know. Maybe you just need to do more strategic marketing, not necessarily more time, but posting more on one platform rather than sporadic on many. So great, great question. Does anyone else have any questions? I'm looking through the chat. I would love to hear any other questions that you have. We've got about 10 minutes. I don't see anything happening. So I'm just going to keep talking, friends. Okay, here's one. I've heard about email being more powerful for marketing than social media channels. Could you say more about that from your experience? Sure. So email is where you're building relationships. And so there's a few different things on this. Number one, thinking about like when you're on social media, people have so much coming at them, right? Like there's so much information coming at them. And so that's a place to get your message in front of people more frequently, but they're just consuming information. More often than not, people buy from email. So email then leads to the conversion. So you want to use both together, but you want to put more weight on email. And think about it as like, you don't really own anything, but you definitely don't own social media. Facebook and Instagram could shut down tomorrow. And as a matter of fact, this was one of the things that when COVID hit, I was devastated that this happened for multiple reasons, obviously, but I was really devastated when I got a flood of emails coming in that said, Amanda, I'm so upset that I didn't take your advice and start an email list because now I have no way of talking to my students now that the studios are closed. It was devastating. I don't want that to happen to you. Now you need to respect if you're working at a studio or working at another business, but like you have to think through, like, you want to be able to communicate with these people. You want to be able to communicate with your clients, and email is the way to do that. And so email is super powerful, and it's definitely how you can build connections. So I email my list every single week, and I mean, there's probably some people here who are on my email list already and feel like if you listen to my podcast and you are on my email list and you follow me on Instagram, I bet you feel like we are friends. And I love that because that's what I want you to feel like, because I am showing up for you and I want you to feel that way. And you can really do that effectively through email. So it builds those relationships and it really works. Great question. Okay, Christine, what are the biggest mistakes you see with regards to marketing by yoga teachers? I would say it's not just yoga teachers, it's everyone in general who hasn't really focused in on marketing strategy and it's being too general. So, not just picking on yoga teachers here, picking on everybody. And it's really before you niche down, it's being too general and really focusing on like sign up for the thing or buy the thing, and that's like the message at the top of, you know, buy the thing, and no one wants to listen to that. So it's, you want to niche down and you want to really hone in on that pain point and focus on that benefit that you can provide. Those would be the biggest ones. Laura says, how to increase your email list along with marketing online. So growing your email list is a great goal, and I hope everyone has that goal. So you want to think about your dream student, your customer, and what they need. Oftentimes some sort of free opt-in. So you signed up for this free webinar, right? I don't know if you were already on my email list or Offering Tree's email list or not either one of us, but that gets you on an email list, right? So a free training, a free offering is a great way to get people onto your email list and then in your audience. You don't have to do something for free, but it's oftentimes like a great opportunity for you to do that. So you could, if you're a product-based business, a discount works really well. So like if you have on your website, if you are a some type of wellness product that you sell it online, you could have a pop-up or a banner or things that say, enter your email address for 10% off. That is good for products. It is not great for services. So that would only be a product opportunity. If you have services, you would want to offer a freebie or maybe a low price product or a low price service, or if you, or some type of a bonus. I wouldn't offer a discount because people need to know about your services first, and they typically don't know enough about your service when they first land on your website or interacting with you on social media. Like if I just blanketly had on my website $50 off something, you would be like, what? I don't know you, Amanda, right? Like I'm not paying you any amount of dollars, even if it's $50 off. So you don't want to think about it in terms of a discount. But what you would want to do is figure out how you want to grow your list, what you want to give in exchange to the person for the email list, and then promote the heck out of it. That you have to keep talking about it all the time. All the time, you got to promote it, promote it, promote it, and get people to sign up for it. Okay, one more question. Let's see. Okay, I think I answered the other email list. How can I grow my email list from social media? Links to everything. Have Instagram handle, like Instagram, you'd want to put your link in bio, have a link there, have a highlight, talk about it at least once a week in a post. Same thing for Facebook. And you just want to talk about it a lot, all the time, like until you're sick of it. Maybe you're already sick of it, but you keep talking about it. Okay, one more question. Any suggestions for how to price my first online product? Ooh, that's a tough one. I would need to know a little bit more about your product and your services, but that's a tough one. You want to think about your dream student. Look at competitive or not even competitive, like comparable price points or comparable products or services, and look and see how they're pricing things. And that would be a good place to start. For sure. But you should, I mean, think about like, is this going to be the way that they're going to be welcomed in? It's probably going to be a low priced offer. If there's no live component to it, probably a lower priced offer. But if it involves your time, anything one-on-one, that's going to be higher. Okay, Alex, I think we got all the questions answered.
And we did. So thank you so much. It was amazing. It's always wonderful to spend time with you because I learned so much. I really appreciate it, and just really delighted that you're here. And thank you for taking the time today.